Bygones are bygones. We squeaked out of it. Want to know that week. Bye week to reset, refuel, rehydrate, get ready for this one. But I think that this has to be a statement win.
Belt to ass, as she said.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it has to be.
It has to be.
At this point in time, a lot of this out-of-conference stuff is about optics. Tennessee, the 7th-ranked team in the country, they might have bumped up a spot or two, but the 7th-ranked team in the country hung 71 on these boys and just kept it going.
Sit over here, belt the ass, let's get out of here, and everyone handles their business, gets home safe.
Quarterback sneak right side, touchdown, Penn State! Whoa! Who knew I would make it this far?
And this segment's brought to you by Family Clothesline. They kept us looking sharp all weekend. I'm currently wearing one of the Lulu Polos. It's a Family Clothesline exclusive. Make sure you guys check out Family Clothesline for all of your Penn State apparel needs. Back again, folks. Fresh off the bye week. A little relaxation, watching some ball. Another episode of the podcast with my guy B-Bell. Want to get these sponsors in here early. Do not forget about Family Clothesline. They've been extremely gracious to us. Make sure you're checking them out every time you're up on campus. They got a couple things coming out here in the next week or two as well. Potentially some trading card deals with the current players. You can get packs, like almost some guaranteed autographs. And then Caroline and crew up there are always staying at the forefront. So I don't want to divulge too much, but they got some really good stuff. So make sure you're checking out Family Clothesline whenever you're up there on campus or on the website. You can do a lot. A lot of people ask about the stuff we're wearing. A lot of it comes from Family Clothesline, so make sure you're doing your research. We have Z-Bart. Unfortunately, don't really have a play this week.
Yeah.
Not going to dive too much into that, not overcomplicate things, but Z-Bart's a great partner of ours. If you're looking to get your car detailed, make sure you're looking them up. Pretty much anywhere in the Northeast. And Hidden Still Spirits, have not forgotten about it. Easy way for you guys to participate in NIL. I do want to give my guy Steve a shout out over at Top Trees. That state hat I had on, if you're looking for that, you got to go to Top Trees. You got to go to their pro shop. It's in there. They had it in blue and white. Go check that out. I don't think I'm missing anything, B, and if I am, we'll get it back. But what's up, dude? How was your bye week?
It was nice, man. It was nice. I saw guys asking about the hat, man. Hack's hat game is always up there. It's elite. Got another one right back at it this week. I like that one too. But the bye week was good. Getting back on the road as far as work-wise for me, handling a baby, work-life balance, trying to figure that all out. But Saturday was a lot chiller without a Penn State game. I'll say that. Blood wasn't boiling or anything. Seeing a couple squads get knocked off, guys get steamrolled. It's college football is wacky as always. It's so many games going on at once, some high-powered games that they're going to mean something down the road here. Some teams I like, took some L's. Some teams I didn't like won. So it was good for me, though. It was good.
I like it. Yeah, dude, I've been up and down, back and forth between State College for every game. I'm doing a pregame show with Jason Kabinda up there, so having this weekend off, man, kicked it, dude. I was watching a few miles. All Saturday. I was streaming off the beach. We were down Seaside, man. I was streaming off the beach, watching it, taking my son in the water. He loves it. So it was a chill kickback weekend for me, only to be ramped up here for the next few weeks. As we have a little bit of a home stretch and then some away games. So, but it was good, dude. There was some good ball, man. I obviously probably some bias here, but I love watching OB go down to Missouri and give them boys a fight, because that Missouri team's a really good team. Brady Cook, their quarterback, he's solid. I think they kind of came out of nowhere with their rankings based upon the way they finished at the end of the year, but just shows you how deep the SEC is. And for him to be able to take that BC team, who now I think might be the favorite in the ACC, the way things are shaking out, them and Miami,
Yeah, that'd be good.
Who else? You know what I'm saying? So dude, he's got a chance, man. He's a quarterback. He's got a shit to him, and I was just proud. I was proud as hell the way they played.
Yeah, Yeah, as you said, Missouri's got something going down there in SEC, but OB and up in BC, the Bostononians, they're always scrappy, and I think he's added just another layer of that, on top of his kind of offensive mind that he brings. And yeah, they're gonna make a lot of noise. Speaking of the ACC, Florida State, man,
Dude, Norvell just seems so defeated every time he goes to a post-game press conference.
Yeah. The whole squad.
We're just going to keep fighting. We're going to keep fighting. That's like he says it 7 different ways. Keep building, keep fighting, correcting mistakes. But that sucks, man. That actually brings up a good point. I kind of want to dive into that. Like, they lost however many guys to the transfer portal. When they when they got shafted out of the playoff spot last year.
Yeah.
And they pulled some guys. DJ, and that's the crazy thing, is DJ got out of Clemson, had a pretty decent year up at Oregon State.
Yeah.
Their coach leaves for Michigan State, and then he ends up transferring down to Florida State. Like, just really curious, is that going to be, in your opinion, like kind of the dancing with the devil with the transfer portal and it being a big focus for what you're trying to do? It can fix things really quick, but if you miss and swing and miss in a couple key positions, it can also screw things up pretty quick. And it's just a shame because I thought he had that program headed in the right direction with a lot of momentum, even though they did get shorted a little bit. And I thought he built it the right way. He would be able to keep it together a little bit more. But the way they're getting beat too, man, is just –
yeah, that's my gripe. 0-3, look, it's never going to look pretty regardless of who you play, no matter. But it's about how they're playing is what I'm seeing. As you said, Norvell looks a little defeated. And that's kind of what I'm seeing out of that squad. Yes, lost a lot of talent, but it's Florida State, man. They've got guys. Every week I hear about their D-line and what they look like and walking off the bus. But it's how they're playing, just kind of lackluster, not really selling out and things of that nature. And it's college football, man. Anybody can get got any weekend. And as we talk about every week, it seems like, with the transfer portal, the opposite side, these lesser schools, they've got talent and they're coming in hungry, pockets full with the checks that the big school pays and, ready to prove something. And every week we're going to see it. But Florida State just lacks juice on every level. It's the coaching staff, it's offense, defense. It's gonna be a long season. They've got a lot of challengers on that schedule, so it's not getting easier anytime soon. So that's when you just got to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and find something.
I'm talking, this could be one of the greatest opposite ends of the spectrum back-to-back years, or worst, however you want to frame it. But I'm saying the most drastic. But in back-to-back years, I think probably potentially ever in college football.
Yeah. I hate to be negative, but they went 12-0 last year. To your point, it could be complete opposite. It could. The schedule is still unforgiving. We'll see. Yeah. Based on how they're playing and who they have the rest of the way, it could be Detroit Lions, what was that, 2012-ish, paper bags over the fans and things of that nature.
Crazy, bro. And that's the thing, how, the league's a little different. There's a lot of things that go into that, but usually, college football's not used to having that because you couldn't have that much turnover.
Right.
But the unforeseen of the transfer portal.
This makes me think of just spitballing here. We may get random trades middle of the season, or acquisitions in these college programs. Can somebody might pick some kids up off another school's practice squad? Hey, can you help? We need to win a few games. Line up outside. We're gonna throw you go balls. You don't know the route tree or the playbook. Just go beat somebody 1-on-1. We need it, please.
That's crazy.
It's possible.
It is possible. I'm sure they can finesse something, but and then let's reel up. Nationally, like you said, Georgia got in a little bit of a dogfight with Kentucky, which is always funny. Kentucky kind of came out very underwhelming last week against South Carolina.
who I thought played really well against LSU.
They did. That was a great game.
It was a great game. But then Kentucky comes out and just plays their asses off. And really,
Yeah. Had them on their heels.
Pick six, might have counted. I watched it. I thought it should have. I personally thought it should have been.
Yeah.
The only way that ball goes up is if his hand's underneath it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like if his hand was on the side of it, and the ball was on the ground. Like it doesn't go straight up. That thing went straight up. But, I don't know, man. They got in a little bit of a dogfight. I do like. I like that Vandergrift kid, the kid that transferred from Georgia, their quarterback. I think he's got some stuff. So, GPO appreciate the Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm sure he was losing it, feeling good at one moment. But I just had a feeling they weren't going to be able to finish, even when they had momentum late in the game. Something told me. I mean, outside of Georgia's offense, the defense was still, hard to get past. And that number 11 kid was in the backfield almost every play. No pun, but they've got some dogs on defense. But Georgia, as I've had to tell a few, Penn State fans, like, hey, 2-0 on the year looks the same no matter how you look at it. There's no asterisk by any game. It's just 2-0.
Win's a win.
So, they keep on rolling, but interested to see how they had to kind of recover from this. Seemed like they took a lot out of them.
Yeah, it was emotional. But I feel like the SEC, just because of how that conference has historically been extremely competitive, like they know what to expect. Like those kids, they understand what's at stake from week to week down there. But kind of reeling that in now, what were some takeaways from Big Ten play? Because I think that's important. We'll get to it as we dive a little bit more into this Kent State game with Penn State, but we slid 2 spots in the AP, and again, some teams that were ahead of us were in some dogfights. Some teams that were ahead of us, looked impressive, but kind of being stagnant there at 2-0 and sliding 2 spots is probably telling, and but just want to kind of get a deeper dive into just the Big Ten Conference as a whole, kind of where we're sitting right now with what we got coming down the stretch. What were some takeaways across the conference that you got from this weekend?
I mean, you got to give Oregon a lot of credit, for what they've been doing in the past 3 weeks. And, I'm not – something about them, I don't want to believe in it, and that may come back to bite me. But, the 6-7-year QB, he's wheeling and dealing as he's done at every school. So, I mean, I respect that decision. And obviously Ohio State, they steamrolled. They look like they're picking up their pace and everything that kind of they lacked week 1. Seems like they're catching stride is going to be that same monster. I mean, talent speaks for itself every week. And then USC continues to look good. Utah beat Utah State. I have to respect it. We talked about Missouri, although Missouri, they did drop one being in that dogfight. And then who else do we have? I guess Michigan is kind of way out of it. But we got to keep an eye on Nebraska, too.
Dude.
We got to keep an eye on Nebraska.
You guys are going to see my Nittany Minute for this week. Follow the State Media channel, so I'm plugging State Media now. I do a little segment for the folks who don't have quite the attention span or the commute to work to listen to the entire pocket. You can take a little 60-second recap of my most important thoughts, or what I deem most important thoughts, if that means anything to you. Probably doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't mean that much to me. But I did talk about Nebraska being for real, man. I love that. The Raiola kid, like the Patrick Mahomes, whatever. Like, you can say whatever you want. There's maybe something inside of me that feels, has a soft spot for a real true freshman quarterback in the Big Ten, coming out there and I don't know why I would feel that. Doing a hell of a job. Mm-hmm. I agree with you, man. Like, I would talk with Joshua Perry about this for even the past few back since Frost was there. Like they had guys to win games, like just matchups, personnel. Like they had guys, but they just didn't have those key pieces that really drove the rest of them. You know what I mean? And I feel like this kid's it. Like their defense is playing stingy. They're running the shit out of the ball. Offensive line's big physical. They're taking a lot of pressure off him. He's able to work on play action. They got guys that can get open down the field, so that helps that. But them and their schedule, man, it's relatively speaking light. I think they play
Illinois this week.
They have Illinois this week.
Illinois look good. Got to give them respect. You know, head coach deserves every bit of respect, and he's got their guys playing. They got athletes. I think that might be my kind of game to watch this week. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Nebraska, Illinois. I gotta see what else is out there, but I think that may be. You know, I mean, shoot, Nebraska steamrolled Colorado, so this may be like a true test. I think for that squad.
Yeah. Big
Ten.
Well, no doubt. I mean, Bielema can coach. I always have.
And it's home. Illinois is home. Nebraska has to travel.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then I think you kind of hinted at it. I mean, Michigan, man, they just ended up benching Warren, going back to Orgy. Like, that's just a tough spot to be in. Coming off a national championship, like really trying to figure out who the incumbent for J.J. McCarthy is going to be, and that dragging out so long, and it now being one of those things where you're trying to find that void. Like, that's something that shouldn't. You look at all of the perennial powerhouse programs, and we say, like, if you don't got a quarterback, you can't.
Yeah, you got a chance.
You can't win. Not in today's game. Like, you have to have a quarterback, and every other place has, Texas has Arch sitting in the incumbent, like, ready to go. You know he can play. You know what I mean? Like, you go down the line of all these programs for the most part, you look at the run Ohio State had for a while, from JT to Wayne to CJ to, you know, Kyle. Like, Kyle even played really, and Kyle's playing really good up in Syracuse.
Yeah, Illinois got something going too. I mean,
but you know what I mean? Like, you just kind of always have a guy in waiting, and like, I don't think you had the hype train around the Oregon kid the way that at least his physical stature may have dictated, and it's just a tough spot, man. And
new head coach, or you know, he was there obviously, but just figuring it all out, putting all the pieces together, managing, you know, the emotions of each of those kids. I'm sure, you know, tough decisions in the middle of a game, but they've got a long season to figure out as well.
I know, man. I think if any year that we really wanted Michigan was probably Michigan.
Let's talk about that this week, or this weekend. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. That's how life works, though.
Yeah, it is.
But we still have our fair share of great matchups to handle. I'll give you that.
Oh, no doubt.
Shoot.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the point. Is that, you know, Michigan's got SC coming to town this weekend.
That'd be fun.
We'll see if they can batten down the hatches and get something figured out from their trigger man up there, because they're going to need it. Because Miller Mott's going to come ready to go, and Lincoln's going to have those guys raring.
Yeah, I want to see, you know, if USC can have that bloodthirst and go in there and take their heart. You know, that USC has already proven, you know, in this first early weeks that they're kind of something different than what they were. But if they do that, even though we're talking about Michigan, the QB situation being a little down, you know, still a tough squad. If they go take their heart, you know, the way Texas did, you know, maybe looking at USC a little different.
That's a tone setter now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, looking a little bit, not being too crazy, but like Wisconsin, Van Dyke going down. I think he's out for the season. Looked to be some knee surgery. That sucks. You know, you never wish that. But then Alabama proceeded to put belt to ass for 4 quarters there. So everyone asked, you know, is Alabama going to be Alabama? I think Alabama's still going to be Alabama.
Yeah, that's a staple. It's never changing. Talent's coming. They got that young receiver kid. balling, 17 years old, looks great. It's crazy. Alabama's going to keep being Alabama for sure.
Yeah.
Shoot, they've got Georgia in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah. Georgia will be coming off a bye week. Like we said, coming off that Kentucky game, manage the emotions. Perfect time for a bye week.
Yeah.
That'll be fun to watch too.
There's going to be a bloodbath the middle of the college football season this year.
Yeah.
When you look at it, I mean, you have so many teams that are from the Big Ten or the SEC that are loaded up in the top 20 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And all these matchups are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be cool just to see it in the shuffling of the deck, and then ultimately how that plays out into the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, around the Big Ten, everything else pretty quiet, status quo. That should be starting to ramp up here and taking shape a little bit better in the next few weeks. Like you said, with some matchups, probably starting with this SC Michigan one, because I think that's ultimately put potentially one of those teams, whomever loses, out of contention for a Big Ten championship spot.
Yeah, it's going to get dicey, man. But in all the conferences, but mainly the Big Two, it's going to get dicey down this long stretch. I think for everybody. I'm not sure if anyone comes out unscathed, to be honest.
It's going to be tough, man. You're going to have to be a really good football team.
Yeah.
And I mean, like a 0-1 Miami Hurricane.
But I don't know. There's so much talent across the nation. That's going to be hard. And just being blessed, lucky, whatever you want to call it, to stay healthy through these bloodbaths. I mean, like you talk about Wisconsin. I mean, not everybody has an Arch Manning. I mean, I think we feel pretty good. God forbid, knock on wood, anything happens. But, it's still, you don't want it to happen no matter who you are. Even for a young Arch, I mean, he's talented, but hasn't been in the situations. If they got to go up against, I'm not looking at their schedule right now, a top dog in the SEC, it's still going to be difficult.
Yeah, that's a completely different experience than he's gotten his feet wet, but he hasn't quite graduated to the deep end of the pool yet.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But let's talk about that. Like I hinted at, Kent State's coming into town, 0-3, throttled by Tennessee, beat by Pitt, pretty good week 1, and then week 2, I think they played like St. Joseph's or St. John's or something like that, and kind of lost in a little bit of a squeaker by a score and a half. But we slide 2 spots. We have the game and the performance that we already covered. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse with Bowling Green. Now, I will say this. I'll admit it. I don't know if you will, but I will publicly, that I definitely did not do a deep enough dive. I knew that the quarterback played for Tom Allen in Indiana. I knew he transferred in from Missouri. I knew all this stuff, but I didn't know how veteran that Bowling Green team is. I really do think that they're going to have a chance to win the MAC, But I still stand on what I said previously. Still, when you put roster to roster, that's not an excuse. Your first opportunity, come in, close the door, right? Bygones are bygones. We squeaked out of it. 1-0 that week. Bye week to reset, refuel, rehydrate, get ready for this one. But I think that, again, as I said before, I will sound very similar here coming into this week. We have to. Yeah. This has to be a statement win.
Belt to ass, as she said.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it has to be.
It has to be. Yeah.
Because, and I think optically, again, at this point in time, a lot of this out-of-conference stuff is about optics.
Yeah.
Tennessee, the 7th-ranked team in the country, they might have bumped up a spot or two, but the 7th-ranked team in the country hung 71 on these boys and just kept it going. Now, am I saying be a dick about it? No. But what I am saying is there needs to be total control from the first snap of this football game in terms of dictating terms and doing what we're supposed to do on both sides of the football.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. 100% control. Looking back at Bowling Green, great as they probably will be, not sure how much. We didn't have control till late, like you said. Not going to keep beating that horse, but going into this week, control. And like you said, it doesn't have to be 70, 80 points But stern control of like, okay, look, you're not going anywhere. Sit over here, belt the ass. Let's get out of here. And everyone handles their business, gets home safe. But once again, it's going to take that maturity. We're watching tape and you're seeing Tennessee do this, do that. Roll up the points. Steamroll them. But you can't just expect yourself to do that without executing the way you're taught to execute. And that's where the maturity comes in. The plays will be there. The one-on-one matchups, still got to go out there and win. Still got to beat the man in front of you offensively, defensively. And you got to finish. And you got to finish no matter who it's against. That's what I want to see. And once again, it has to be, like you said, a statement. It has to be a statement. Not that we're paying attention to the rankings, but, the guys in the locker room shouldn't be, but it's going to matter. It's going to matter. Maybe I was a little naive to that going into Bowling Green as well. Just, it's going to be the margin of error for who gets in and for everything is going to be that very short and very small. So, if it takes 66 points against, a lesser opponent to prove a little something to someone to bump us up, then that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. Like I said, for me, perception is reality, and you're going to have to. I think the offense is doing, and I said this. I think the offense is doing the right things. I think we kind of took the defensive transition for granted a little bit, and I just need to see complimentary football for 4 quarters.
Yeah,
I need to see complete control, keep it pushing, because again, we do have a really well coached Illinois team, as we've already talked about here, coming to town the week after that. UCLA, who got spanked by Indiana this weekend. I don't really know what to expect from a team like that, but it is still UCLA. They're going to have some guys who can hurt us, and I would almost categorize that similarly to a Bowling Green. If you don't come in with your chin strap buckled and ready to play from snap, you can catch yourself in a pillow fight.
Yeah.
And then it starts getting real. Then it's SC, bye week, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Washington, lost Washington State this week, but it is what it is. That's still a little bit of a grind. We have a bye week mixed in there, but that's still a little bit of a grind of a season. The grind portion of the season where you really find out how mature we are. So for me, again, do what we got to do, and now we can start talking some ball, especially with everything else that's going on around college football, the different matchups and stuff. It's just one of those positions where Penn State could just very quietly be like, oh yeah, they're just the vanilla ice cream. They're like Paul Tanecki says, they're just vanilla ice cream. They're consistent, always good, know what you're doing, bang, 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 not a thought. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's a team where if you're that, and then all of a sudden you get some momentum, you're very, very dangerous.
Right. We're sitting where we want to be. Definitely sitting where we want to be.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to, man. I'd like to believe and I hope that the leadership in the building is thinking the right way and just go out there and handle business, man. I'm excited. Nonetheless, I'm always excited to watch the boys in blue and white play, no matter who it's up against. So, I'm excited to see them fly around, man, and just have fun and be hype, as if you're playing Tennessee, Michigan, Ohio State, no matter who it is. And that's where being an old guy out of college, we've been out of it dang near 10 years now, where it's just like, dude, cherish these moments. Every practice, we've had guys come to the locker room, older Penn State lettermen, and tell us this. And while we're there, we take it in, but you focus on what you got to do. But really, it's just cherish these moments. Obviously, these games are like gold. There's only, 12 of them, hopefully more. Just cherish it and leave no regrets against any opponent. And at the end of it, you'll be sitting pretty, looking back like, oh shoot, we really we did and set out what we set out to accomplish to do. It's possible. It's definitely possible.
Do you think this week the D-line gets a little breakthrough here?
I think that's the one segment of our squad that needs it the most. Just getting home, feeling it, kind of reaching success. There's a lot of hype about the receivers and outside. I think we said week 1, they kind of accomplished that. Whatever was in their ear, confidence, feeling good. Week 2, same thing. O-line, running game's looking good. Every position's kind of been solidified, and they kind of making big plays in that regard. And we've stopped the run great. The big boys, the interior's been great, but that kind of traditional guys hot off the edge, third down, big sack, we needed it. Haven't had that yet. And this would be a great week to get that ball rolling a little more. So, I think we need it. Those guys have to find a way to kind of. In West Virginia, we got home, but
yeah,
definitely to get that confidence going, because that's going to bode well for our DBs, the LBs, and as you said, complimentary football. We get everything going in the right direction. We feel good about it. So yeah, Abdul Carter, Nittany, they're going to have to really, really strive, because Kent State, no matter who it is, we gotta get home. They're not gonna give you a sack.
Obviously, we don't have access to all 22,
Mm-hmm.
And I think you and I both have enough respect for Dion and everyone that's involved up there and all of that stuff to not speculate too much. But what's the from what you've seen and what you've watched and what you've been able to consume, however you've consumed it? What do you think it is that needs to happen for that to take, do you get what I'm saying? Do you think it's a little bit, do we need more press coverage, kind of disrupting timing in the pass game in those third and mediums? Do you think it's just we need a little bit more stress in certain situations? Do you think we need to do a combination of some more games up front in those types of situations, especially with the athletes we have? What do you football schematically? What do you think could potentially help with that?
Yeah, I think it's tough because it's almost a game-to-game situation, and like you said, without all 22, really breaking down not only ourselves and how our guys are rushing. Maybe where I could maybe critique or we could critique, but also the other team. Once again, I'm not trying to make this kid like Brady, but Bowling Green, the kid had some good, outside of good throws, he had good presence just in the pocket, where we're screaming off the edge, and it may sound simple, but, a simple slide here, step up there, maneuvering out, is a great deal that, obviously.
He worked in a small old school telephone.
I mean, he did, and was confident, stood tall. We started to get in his face later on, and you saw the difference that made. But as far as getting home to a true sack, it's hard. What I would say, just off my, just watching the games off TV, we have so much speed. I think it's such a hard thing probably to coach to you're not telling your guys to slow down, for damn sure not. But you almost have to counteract that speed with something behind it. Because, you're racing 1,000,000 miles an hour upfield, that leaves lanes for a QB to step up. To where the interior games, maybe where you're saying is hey, we know Abdul's screaming off the edge. Obviously he bends the corner, it's great. But, you throw a pebble in front of a Ferrari, it could go flying. In a sense, so we're the interior games kind of follow up, wrap around to kind of counteract that speed. There's been times you've stepped up off coming off the DN's pressure, then someone else is right in your face. That's kind of what we need, and maybe I think we did a lot with Manny with the linebackers, almost delayed blitz. Almost like if anyone watched that Eagles game against the Packers Week 1 in Brazil, Wisconsin linebacker who was balling. Flying around that game. His last sack was similar to that. And it was a Hail Mary, but that's honestly what we did a lot, is kind of have that linebacker waiting for that step up, manipulating the step up in the pocket because you've got edge pressure to boom, LBs in your face. And matter of fact, we did that with Abdul last year. That was kind of his role in a lot of the pressures. But obviously we had first round, third round talent coming off the edge.
Yeah, but my thing is what I would find interesting, and just watching NFL ball today too. You kind of see that, and to your point, I feel like we've just been, a lot of it's just been Abdul off the edge, off the edge. But you could even get creative with some of those interior stunts, and then have him wrap around almost all the way to the front side A gap. Right. Just send those guys away. He crashes and does a big loop. And have him more of an interior rusher with his speed against interior linemen who also are trying to pass a bunch of stuff off, and just maybe in some of those situations. I don't have access to the all-22. Maybe we've tried it a couple times. It never stuck out to me. We're like, oh, that's exactly what happened, and that's why it hit home in my brain. But to your point, just with the athleticism that we do have, or even on the flip side, if you're going to just have Abdul here taking 2 to 3 guys, taking a back and a tackle, or tight end and a tackle, just doing it the opposite way with Danny, you know what I mean? Sutton. So doing it the opposite way with him, but still moving those kind of athletic, agile, the Zane Durant interior guys to more of the edge, because I think they can do it. They now can. And then flipping roles and responsibilities. Yeah. I don't know. I was just curious from your perspective, because again, I watch it, but it's just kind of passively. And for me, getting a little more nitty gritty, that type of stuff and that approach, especially on those 3rd and 6 to 8.
Yeah. But like you said, it's got to tie in. Like you said, maybe we haven't tried, but it's got to tie into the coverage. And I know I can't say I've necessarily saw that 100% of the time, where it's like, hey, if we're going to bring this pressure to get in his face, we got to be, like you said, I think I said it last week, we got to step up in the zone coverage. We can't sit back at 8 yards on 3rd and 6, because no matter what they do up front, it's not really going to help. But this is going to be the one thing we got to pay attention to the most, because if this next week goes by and we're still not seeing nothing, we're going to have to get creative to some of the points you made. Yeah. And that's going to be on Coach Allen, Coach Dion, which confidence to do, but you're going to have to dig a little deeper into the bag of tricks and see what guys can do and manipulate some things here and there. But I have confidence that they'll figure it out. But this will be a great week to kind of jump off the diving board into a 4, 5, 6 sack game.
And no doubt. Put some shit on tape, try some stuff. But that's why I said I think it's also very important to be in control, so you feel comfortable doing that. You know what I mean? I mean,
it'd be great to just go 3-man rush and they just get home, but 4-man rush. But if not, you're going to have to get a little exotic.
Yeah. All right, well, I love it. That's what I'll be watching now. I will be locked in.
Yeah.
We'll keep this one short and sweet. I think B and I did talk about bringing the mailbag back. Probably going to be dropping that stuff right after game days on Saturdays. Try and get the emotions. Right? We want to play the emotional game too. We get emotional. We want to get some answers from you guys. So just antennas up. Post games on Saturdays for our mailbags. We're switching from Mondays. And we'll get that back integrated. And then obviously our good friends at Z-Bart will be back next week with hopefully a 2 or 3 sack performance with Abdul or Zane or somebody. Give it to a big guy up front. B, that's a wrap, bro. I appreciate you hopping on tonight, and see what happens.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always here to give you guys, once again, keep running into people outside. Love the pocket. Love what we got going on. Much appreciated. If you ever see us out, definitely speak for myself. See me out. Give us a shout out. It's cool. It's dope. And at the end of the day, it's all Penn State of love, which we know there's so much of. I keep falling into it. No matter where I go, it's like someone here, someone there. It's funny. It's funny, but yes. Look out for the mailbag right after the game Saturday or Sunday to get it to you guys early while things are on your mind. So let's get that back going.
We will get it back going. And then, as always, make sure you're telling your friends to follow, subscribe, family, the whole 9. We obviously really appreciate it. It helps us bring you guys more sponsors, more things of that nature, advantageous deals to maybe participate in NIL, things of that nature, passively. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe and spread the word. As always, again, we appreciate it. We want to continue to make this the best Penn State football podcast possible, giving you guys pertinent information from guys who've been there, done that. So we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Have a great week. And hopefully we're talking about belt to ass on the Golden Flashes. Is that what they are?
Yeah, Golden Flashes.
Penn State Golden Flashes on early next week. So, later.